Hello, welcome back. Hello, welcome back. Another day at SC Classics. I'm Sam, and today I am not working on a Ford. No, in fact, I'm working on one of my dream cars. It is a Toyota Corolla AE86. Now, it's a booted one, so is that a Torino? Or I think a Torino is the hatch. Is this 11? I'm not sure. I'm not too well up on them. My mate is, and that's who owns this car. He's got two of them. He's also got a hatch as well. I'll show you what he's got me doing anyway on the car. So this is the car in question. It's a red Jap import Corolla. I'm sure it's a really early one. I'm sure it's like he said it's like an 83 or an 84, something like that. Booted. I think that makes it 11. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know what I'm talking about. I just know I love them. I think the first thing I want to do is just zip along this line here with this slitting disc, get the old valance out of the way, and I'll give you some more room to get in here and draw up the spot welds. This has been fitted in the past, so I think it's been, looking at this, it's been plug welded in, so it's not going to be particularly easy. Also, the boot floor is sandwiched between these two panels, so I need to carefully unpick it all without damaging this too much, even though there's some holes here. So I might end up putting a piece in here to remake this, some more holes there as well. I might go up a little bit further than I would have liked, maybe up to there, not from Yorkshire, up to here, maybe, we'll see. Yeah, so I'll potentially end up coming into here. I don't want to unpick the back panel. Disturb all these original joints. It'll never go back together as nice. So I want to leave this in. Yeah, first of all, I'm going to get this back valance out of the way because that is scrap. It's not going back on. We've got a new one to go on there. First disc. straight away is revealed. So we've got the original spot welds on the side here, but then on the inside we've got plug welds. So the back valance has been replaced at some point, plug welded in place. Same on this side, plug weld, plug weld, plug weld. So it's going to be a case of slowly file them out with the power file, get rid of them. It has revealed a little bit more in this panel, so we'll see what we need to do. So that's the most of the back valance cut out, cleaned up down the sides with a power file. To get rid of the plug welds. So that's now the original. It's got the outer well and the inner well, and then obviously the back valance sandwiches down there. The only thing left of the valance now is this underneath, which, where did I spot some plug welds? So let's get the power file on these, get rid of the last of the plug welds. That'll be the last of the valance out the way, and then we can work on trimming this boot floor out. Let's get the power file first and get rid of some of these welds. Hopefully I can get rid of the last of the valance. We shall see. Move forward a little touch and back valance is all removed. It was actually brazed on, so it was quite easy to just power file the heads off the brazes, and it's out the way. I also, the customer, Adam, roughly cut it, what was left of the boot floor out, and he requested that we go up to the lip on the chassis rail, so just cut the leftover of that off and zip round with a flat disc and clean the edges up. Problem I've found, I also cut the boot floor straight out, because this is where we're going to be going out and removing this piece, and then we're coming into about here and putting a strip all the way across the back. What I've noticed now that the valance is out of the way, you can see it, there's actually a step in the panel, so the boot floor actually sits a touch higher than this lip, so the piece that I put in is going to have a slight step all the way across. It's more obvious there. So yeah, I'll have to make that piece with a step in it to come drop down a touch to the back valance. I'm still not decided which route I'm going to go for this panel. So while I ponder that one, I think I'm going to move on to removing the old gear sticks around. As you can see, that'll be easier to drill out from inside. Shouldn't be too many spot welds in that, get that out of the way, and then we can look into remaking this piece of floor and the strengthener up top. But for the time being, I'm going to jump in, Y wheel all around this surround, find all the spot welds, drill them out, get this one out of the way. Just quickly Y wheel round there, found the spot welds. So there's one there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another 3 or 4 down the other side. Reason I use a wire wheel instead of a flappy disc or anything is, got a tendency to lose the spot welds if you use a flappy disc and grind the top off it. So flappy disc just reveals them better. It's not too harsh. So drill them out quick with me spot weld drill bit. Maybe it'll focus. Get them popped out. I'm not too concerned about blowing through, going straight through the panel because they were panel scrap. And then I can hopefully start eyeing up getting this new panel in, or at least see where it needs to go and how much of the tunnel we've got to remake. It's the old part of the tunnel removed. See how much is missing off it. Quite easy really. So some spot weld, it popped out nice. And we've got this issue at the back. What I'm going to have to do, they've actually, so this is the floor that's meant to come forward, and you've got this support strengthener, and they've added a plate in to join the two up. So what I'm going to have to do is just get the file on this again, take this weld out, get rid of this plate, and then see how much of the floor I've got to make. And then once that's out of the way, then I'll have to replace part of this structure. First thing is power file this edge off, get rid of this weld and get this plate out of here. I might, I haven't decided yet whether to take a section of this out to make repairing the floor a bit easier. I'll get rid of this first and then assess the situation. Got that little piece power filed out. Now what I've noticed is where's my screwdriver a second ago, which I've lost. Anyway, use this one. Let's see. Get into it. There it is. Well, anyway, that is actually the tunnel from across here. It's been trimmed and folded back. I'm going to do pull it out. Yeah, get that folded out. Yeah, so what I've done is actually just cut some bits out the side and then peened it over on itself and folded it back into the tunnel. They've mulled it and there's bits of it missing, so I think I'll just cut that off and then start again and remake this piece. Yeah, I think that's the best option. Just cut it off clean, get rid of this and just remake this piece from, again this has been punched back as well, so I have to straighten that out. I think this should be, just go straight across here. Anyway, let's dig it out and find out. Wow, what a hole. Some temporary fixings in there, just to hold it up and get an idea of what's actually missing. I think that will do for the time being. I'm going to get cleaned up and get locked up and go home and potentially come back later and carry on with this. Cut the plate. First of all, cut that out, cut the sides and the back out so they're square, beat a little plate. It's got a slight step in the tunnel, so just have to get it in a vise and beat a bit of a step into it. I know this is hidden, but you know, try and make it something like. I'm just gonna get the old MIG on it, glue it in, and then on to the next piece. First piece quickly welded in. I'll have to punch some holes in the front of that so I can plug weld to this piece. Then a quick grind down, and a primer over it maybe, and then we'll actually get some weld through before the next piece goes on. But at the time being, I'll let it cool down, then get it, get all the welds ground and ready for the next piece to go in. Just give it a quick grind over, get all the snots off it. Got to trial fit the key sticks around, tunnel top, whatever you want to call it, if it's nice still. So I can remove it now, get some weld free primer on both sides, punch some holes in here to plug weld, and then I can plug weld this in. And the last piece is fix this reinforcement. It should go there. Just got section missing out the front, as you can see, so that'll be the last piece to repair. So yeah, I'm going to get that whipped out now, some weld free primer, punch a couple of holes and get that one plug welded in. Got our holes punched in, ready to plug weld the new panel in. Bit of copper weld through so we're not sandwiching bare metal, and it's ready to go in now. Let the car down. I know the piece that I'm welding in has already been bare metaled and done in steel it, weld through primer, so that won't need anything. It's just this side really. It's a nice enough fit. It's all weld through primer now, so get the MIG out. Couple of plug welds there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another 4 down that side. Need to get some grips and pull that in when the time comes, but generally we're there. There we go, that's the second piece plug welded in and ground down. Coming together now, just got this last piece to go in. It's just going to need a bit of a repair before it can go back in. And that'll finish up the gear sticks round, and I think that's me done in here as well once that's done. So, best way to tackle this, because there's quite a few shapes to it. Let's get these edges cleaned up first. That's the last piece made and welded back in. It's quite crude, but show a bit of grinding and dressing back, it'll do the job. It's getting late now, so I'll carry on. I'll finish dressing out tomorrow. Put a primer over it all, and that's that bit finished. Move on to something else, which I'm not actually sure what yet. I might carry on with that back panel and boot floor. I'll have a good think about that one tonight. There we go, it's the gear stick done. Looks better. Bit of paint over that, bit of seam sealer, you'll never know. So, on to the next job. So, quick check underneath as well. All the welds are penetrated, it's nice and tight. That'll do. Again, just a bit of seam sealer and paint, and that'll be that one done. There we go, all 3 pieces welded in. Quick grind down, quick sand, probably go a bit further on it, 1 to 2, but I think that'll be fine. Just give it a coat of weld through primer. The owner's going to be sanding it down and painting it wherever it needs, seam sealing, so I'll do. One more big hole, you can fit the standard gearbox again now. Do the job, on to the next one. Next job, I'm going to attempt to cut this lip off. I've mashed off across there. I'm going to zip along here, which is going to be a pain. You can see these 2 marked lines, one over there, one here. That's where the line of the boot floor finishes. So obviously a zip off here, zip up here and across this line, that piece will come out. Sadly this piece won't, even if I do cut there, because this is still attached to the remains of the boot floor, which is staying in. So I'll have to cut this section out first, cut along here too, and then get rid of some spot welds or plug welds or whatever, because this needs replacing too because it's knackered. And the same on that side. I'm going back now, that's it removed. I've just got to get this last piece off here. I think there's some plug welds, well, but obviously some plug welds, some spot welds, so I just have to get my surface prep tool or grinder or whatever, get rid of it. As you can see on this one as well, it's pretty peppered, so it has to go. So just them 2 last little pieces to go, and that's the remove. That's the piece of cut off. You can see it's pretty battered. And that's the remains of the boot floor, which again isn't looking great. You can see now the step that I've got to put into it, into the panel. Not massive, but definitely there. And the other issue I've got is if you look down there, I don't know if the camera can pick that up. That's a slight radius, so I'm going to have to use the stretcher on that, on the new piece. Anyway, so I'm going to get these bits removed, start making a new piece to go in. So this strip is actually going to be the back panel It's 1280mm long by 38mm deep. Describe this line here at 23mm, which leaves 15mm there. The 23mm is for this, plus the little return edge on there, and the 15 is the piece going up. So I'm going to go and get this AE86 folder, fold this angle into it. I'm not sure what that angle is, it's not 90, and then get the stretcher on it, or the shrinker I think, no stretcher, to put a slight radius in it. You can't really see it, but you can when you put it up against a straight edge. It's just got a slight radius in the back panel, so we'll have to gently form that, see how we get on. So that's that strip folded, but as you can see, it's sat out here and sat under the panel there, and that's because it's got a slight radius to the back panel. So I'm going to have to stretch this flange, which will stretch the front flange, which will in turn put a slight radius on the back one to match the back panel. So when I say I'm going to stretch the metal, that's what this tool's for. So I've got these jaws here, and as you can see the arrows are pointing out, which means it's going to stretch the material. It basically pulls the material apart. And then on this one is your shrinker. So you've got the arrows pulling in. As you can see, the jaws pull the material in, pinch it, just help put a radius on it. We're getting there with the panel, bit of a radius on it. Still a little bit more tweaking to do, but yeah, generally I'm not sure if that's off because it's not stretched enough, or off because it's up against this and that's holding off, because it does need slightly trimming. But we're getting there. I've put the back panel on, the lower valance, just to get an idea of height and where it's going to go. So yeah. Progress, we're moving along. I have to try and pin this in place somehow, and then scribe and trim this back panel out to suit, so I can get the radius correct. Gap is a little bit big there, but I think it's just because this piece is pushing it down. But we'll work it out. Change of plan. I've decided what I'm going to do is make this centre. So from this line here to this line is the boot floor, or the lip of the boot floor essentially. So that's obviously going to affect the height of this panel that goes in here, because it sandwiches, you'd have the valance, boot floor, then upper back panel. So this missing piece is going to affect this height. So first of all, I'm going to make this strip to go in here, get that welded in, and then fine tune that this piece that I've made. So let's cut some material. It's got a little fold in it, just a little step. Nothing too fancy, shouldn't be too hard to make. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll concentrate on getting this piece in. Back to it. It's now Monday night, 8 o'clock. Get my finger off the lens. I'm going to hold my hands up. I've messed up. So this is the piece that we're putting in. This is going to join up the chassis legs either side. It's not going to have a full boot floor like a normal car. This is going to be more race orientated. So it's getting cut out to the chassis legs, and then it's going to have some, I believe it's having some sort of box section across here to mount an aftermarket fuel cell into the boot floor, and then it's going to be panelled in. So what he wanted, instead of a boot floor putting in, was a strip across the back end, just so the fuel cell's got something, or the box section's got something to go up to. So it's going to weld in flush with the chassis legs either side, and be welded to the valance when the valance is ready for going in. So what I've done, as you can see, is I've punched holes in the boot floor panel that I'm putting in. But here's where I messed up. So even though I knew the back panel's got a radius in it, I cut and pressed this panel. You can see it's got a pressing in all the way to add a bit of strength to it. That was quite simple, just put it in the folder. Folded two, I think it was 75-degree bends into it, very close to each other, just to give us that fold and add a bit of strength. You can see the fold a bit neater this side. What I didn't account for was the radius in the panel. So as you can see in the centre, stops a bit short. Now don't get me wrong, it's still the panel underneath, the valance underneath goes back to this line here, so it's got plenty of area to weld. It's a little bit wide on this side. I've got to trim it off, as you can see. Weld in the middle, it's a bit short. For the time being, what I'm going to do is I want to weld it in on both sides inside the boot, so it's actually part of the car. I'm not going to fix it to the valance yet because the valance isn't prepped, ready. I need to clean up some areas. I might actually do a little bit of welding in the corner here, which will got a little rust hole. Prep it, and then that can go in. For the time being, I just want to put this in to get our spacing right for our panel we made earlier to infill this gap here. So yeah, I messed up. I'll hold my hands up. I might have to cut another strip and put that in there. We'll see if it affects it without that strip in. But yeah, hold my hands up. No one's perfect. Everyone has a bad day. I wouldn't say it was a bad day, it's just something I overlooked. But if need be, I can add a strip to it. But for the time being, I'm just going to get this welded in on both sides and start mopping up this panel above it. And if all goes well, get them both welded in tonight. I'm getting very low on weld through primer. I don't want to sandwich all that metal in there with bare metal with no primer on it, so I might have to just prep everything tonight and pick some weld through primer up tomorrow. We'll see how we get on. That, and I am extremely low on gas, so don't know if I'll get that far. We'll see. It's all mocked up. Still a bit of a gap in the middle, that's because it's touching a couple of areas and pushing it down, which is opening up a gap here. So a little bit of trimming just here and here, and it should fit all right. That's it all mocked up. What I'm going to do now is punch some holes in this so that I can plug weld the three panels together. Punch some holes down the side here so we can plug weld that. Clean all sides up, weld through primer, and start welding it all together finally. It's been a bit of a tricky one, that. Not too bad, not too bad. Radius, right, the back panel's got a bit of a bend in it there anyway. So, yeah, let's get cleaning things up and punching some holes. And crack on with welding it in. Got all the holes drilled down this side. Set my welding lid off, can't hear a thing. Got holes drilled all down the sides, plug weld that. Got all holes across the top, drilled to plug weld that. I have weld free primer down the back sides, so there's no bare metal sealed off. And now I'm going to get the welder on it. Get this welded on, get the valance done, and move on to the next piece then. So there's the valance, rear valance welded in. The boot floor panel is now all plug welded in and welded down the chassis legs. So next thing, it's getting a bit late now, so I'll probably start grinding and stuff in the morning. Get these plug welds ground off, all the way around, dress it up. Last thing is to get this panel welded in. I'll finish up the back end. And then I'm not sure what's next. I'll have to speak to Adam. Can't remember how far we're going with this. I know there's two chassis legs on the back which have been jacked up on and crushed. And there's also a hole in the inner wing where it's had a intercooler pipe popped through it when it had an SR20 in it. They kindly butchered a big hole into the inner wing, so that's going to need plating up, but I'll speak to Adam and see how far we're going. Got a bit carried away there, forgot to pick the camera up. I've got all them plug welds underneath this dressed down this side. I've got to finish off dressing down here. Got some weld through primer under there and tack this lip into place. I'm going to have to plug weld here because this is old metal work under here, and same this end, that's original boot floors, a few layers there. Here I'm going to hopefully spot weld into place. Yeah, progress, it's fitting all right. Managed to clean that line up a bit so it's space nice a little bit. Just got to dolly this here a bit because the back panel was actually damaged here, so I'll dress that a little bit, but generally it's pretty fits pretty well. Spot welds. Hold on. Just need to have a little clean up in here. That's the back balance, back panel and boot floor finished. Beauty of this is it's all hidden behind a bumper anyway, so got this spot welded on. I couldn't spot weld down to the side because it was outer pocket, inner pocket, so there would be dirt and grime, rust, whatever between the two layers, so the spot welder wouldn't work there. It has to be clean surfaces, so on here was ideal. So spot welded all the way along, nothing fantastic, just an old spot welder, but it done the job, can't complain. It saves me punching holes in, welding, and loads of grinding. That way it's done. So that's it, done. Oh, last thing to do is a bit of clean up inside. But yeah, that's the paneling. You've got a bit of clean up on this lip on the inside, but apart from that, that back end's done. The customer come today, he's really happy with it, seen it. He wants me to carry on with the rest of the work, which is a big square hole in the inner wing where it had a charge pipe, when it had an SR20 turbo engine in there. He wants me to dolly the tunnel, which I've done, straighten it up a bit. It was all smashed in on the front edge. Managed to get most of it out. There's a little split in the metal work just here. See it? So I'll have to cut that little piece out to put a little piece in there. Generally looks better. What else was it? Oh, this. So this little tiny hole here on the turret is actually, if we go under here, it's behind this panel. So basically it's sandwiched behind here, it's rusting behind there, it's blown the other panel out. So what I'm going to do is drill out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spot welds, cut the section out, clean it, weld the hole in the turret, and then put that piece back in. A load of weld-free primer behind it, so it'll stop all the rust. And what else? I'll send it up, show you the rest. So underneath, it's a really solid car, being a Jap import and being off the road. Basically, it's never been on the road since it was imported into this country. Rust-wise, it's just surface rust. It's brilliant. Sadly, there's some damage where it's been jacked up on many times. It's completely folded the this little bracing which comes along here. Where's it go to? Here, joins into the main chassis leg. Now I don't really want to remove the full section, so what I might do is just remove the section here, drill the spot welds out, beat it, planish it, try and get it straight. If not, make a new piece. And same again on this side. This one's not as bad, but he still wants it rectifying. So yeah, that's the only work underneath really. But I think I'm going to concentrate on the engine bay first. Yeah, this one's really bad. Yeah, I'm concentrating on the engine bay and just work my way through it. So I thought I'd address this driver's inner wing turret area first. although it's a little hole here, it's actually blowing. You can see it's starting to blow away. It's starting to lift the panel here. So obviously there's rust in there. So my initial plan was to cut down here and cut here and drill the spot welds out and get this panel out. But the rust is more towards this edge, as in underneath here, and I'm not going to be able to cut all the way in there and re-weld it neatly, not without removing these turret supports, which comes all the way up to here, and same on that side, and then I can get in behind it and cut this piece out. So with this piece being damaged anyway, I figured I'm going to cut the bottom off this turret, which isn't going to be easy because someone's made a shocking attempt at stitch welding it, as well as the original spot welds there. So what we're going to have to do is find the spot welds, pop them, cut across here. So I don't think the rust is going to go any further up because that panel stops about here. So if I cut a touch higher, and then I'll have to gently try and remove these plug welds, and then whether I might be able to reuse this, just put a section in it, or just completely remake this bottom section here, the wing turret. We'll see. I think I'll get started. Just first of all, draw a line across here, cut line, and then get to our spot welds. There we go. Bit of a pain because this weld here had covered half the spot weld, so we had to grind that and then lost the spot weld, so it made it a bit tricky. But generally, got it off without too much damage. Rookie error, punched through. So that'll have to be I'll have to get a bit of copper behind there, and generally, I think a good wire wheel and some rust converter will sort that out. Doesn't need chopping out. It's just I think it's just a build-up of rust. I've blown that piece out, but I'll remake that. It's not worth trying to reuse it. I'll just remake that section, put it back in, and that should be that job done. I think I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow to put this back in because I've run out of. I know I've got no rust converter, and I've run out of weld-free primer earlier today, and this is definitely going to have a good coat of it before it goes back together because I don't want to trap any bare metal in there. So yeah, for the time being, I'll give this a good wire wheel, clean up these little bits of weld, and make a new piece to go in there. Should be pretty straightforward. Just draw around that and get it ready to put a new piece in. I think once I've done all that, once I've got this cleaned up, cut a piece ready to go in, I'll probably start on this area. It is going to have to be cut back a bit further because, as you can see on this edge, it's rotten. So I'm going to probably take it back another 10mm, screw it up, and then start making a plate for that, which is going to be lovely. And look at the shape of that. There's all kinds of bends in it. It's going to be a challenge. We like challenges. Cleaned up quite well. So you need some weld-free primer on there before I can put anything back in. What I'm actually tempted to do is punch through on the rest of these spot welds. The reason being is I know the inner arches are getting done in sort of a Raptor stone chip, so I could punch through these welds. This one's already gone, obviously. Punch through on the others, and then weld them from this side and dress them and hide them on the stone chip, or, you know, we much need to hidden this side, hiding the welds this side, then trying to hide them in the bay where it's going to be nice and painted. So yeah, I'll probably punch through the rest of them now. That's the new piece cut out, ready to weld in tomorrow when I get some weld-free primer. It looks like it's a little bit short there, but it's actually not. It's just because of the attempt at stitch welding. Well, generally it fits all right. You want a bit of manipulation in this corner. Again, don't line up too bad. I made this out of thicker grade of steel because it is a suspension turret, and the piece that I cut out was quite thick. So I made sure to match it up. That'll do for that piece. I just threw some Clecos in it for the time being. There's an extra one there, but I actually drilled it in the wrong place. So I'll have to plug weld that tomorrow. I did. Punch through my welds so I can plug weld it from this side instead of plug welding the engine bay, and then hopefully just lose that weld across there. Well, that is it for that part for tonight. Like I say, get some weld. Hopefully my weld through primer comes tomorrow. It's on a 24-hour delivery, so we'll see. I did actually try and get some from Halfords today, but it was £27 for a 450ml can. Off eBay with 24 hours delivery, it was £21 for 2 cans. So I will wait 24 hours. Next, I'm going to start filling this big gaping awkward hole. Or I might just go home because I'm knackered. See how I feel. Copper weld through turned up. Love this stuff. Brilliant. So now that's coat on the back of that too. I can get this Clecoed in place and welded in. Repair done. Ground down, sanded, inside again. The welds ground down, sanded, which is a could. That'll do for that. Give it some, just give it a coat of weld through primer now. And then on to this one. Thursday night, thought I'd come back and carry on with the Corolla. As seen early today, got the inner wing done. Sadly I didn't get as much time on this one today as I'd like because I had this lovely mountain escort in for a few jobs, so that tied up a bit more time than I would have liked. So feeling guilty, thought I'd come back and do the night shift just for the change. I'm going to work on this inner wing. I cleaned the areas up around it, get rid of any paint. Obviously I'm going to be welding, and just to had to cut this back lip back a touch because it had some rust on the front. Didn't take too much off it. Just that piece. Probably 10, probably more than 10 mil. You can see. Get rid of that. We're now back to good metal. Because it's such a funny shape, I'm going to give it a go with some masking tape, put it on the line around it. I'm going to try and peel this off carefully now without all the masking tape falling apart, and lay it on some cardboard, cut a template, and see if that works. I'm not holding my breath, but you got to try, haven't you? But we'll see. Yeah, masking tape stuck to some card. You noticed I cut out a little bit bigger than the template, just so we got some room to negotiate. Transferred to some steel. I'll get that cut out now and start bending it into shape. There we go, plate made, nothing fancy, nothing special. No special tools used, just my hands, a hammer, and that's about it really. So plenty of cleaning up and grinding in the morning, and that's another piece out of the way. Wasn't looking forward to that one, but anyway, it's done. Hopefully it cleans up and planishes out nice, and I can get on with... Oh, that's it. There's a little piece on that tunnel which cracked. Well, it was already cracked. It just cracked a little bit more. It had been beaten up that much. I'll cut that out, replace that, and that is the engine bay finished. That's it, ground down. A little bit of filler work, that'll be fine. I'm not completely happy with it, so I'm actually going to do that repair for free because I'm not happy. But It'll do, like I say, a bit of filler work, bit of dressing. You can hide that. So that is nope. So the engine bay's finished. I've got this little crack up here to do. I'll get that done now, and that's the engine bay out of the way. Yeah, I'm not happy with that at all. Can't win them all. So next job on the Corolla is the chassis legs, or reinforcers, which you can't see, they're under here. I've shown them previous, but they're all battered. And to get them off, I'm going to drill the spot welds out from in here, which means I have to remove the awful sound deadening bitumen pads. Heat gun made that a bit easier. So now they're out of the way. You can also see the floor's actually a bit, although it's solid, it's all bent, but it's been jacked up on. So what I'm going to do is drill the spot welds out from in here, get the chassis leg off, that reinforcer, and then dolly the floor straight again, dolly the chassis leg straight, put it back in. Well, that's the plan. Hopefully it all goes as I think it will. Just at the owner here, he's looked over the work, he's more than happy with it. Well, he's so happy in fact that he wants me to do a little bit more. So now he's decided that we've boxed this section off across the back. He now wants to add another 2.5 inch lip across here just to square things up. So he's got a bit more to fix the tank and stuff too on the back end. I think that was the only job. Oh no, we will start doing, and he's also asked me to repair in the engine bay around this hole for the steering column. It's a bit deformed and cracked. So he wants me to straighten that out and weld that crack up. It's pretty straightforward. He's actually happy with this repair. I'm not. That's why he got it for free. But he's more than happy with that. So win-win for him, I suppose. He got the repair done. A couple of hours labour for free. This is actually what I'm going to be removing. Damage actually from here to here. It's not worth removing full chassis leg or strengthen it all the way up to here when the damage comes to here, so I'll leave that in place. Again, leave this back section in place, just remove it, straighten it out, get it welded back in, and the same on this side. Managed to get that section off without too much damage. Now that it's off, I can dress this floor down a little bit because it's got a bit of a twisted a touch. Clean it up and get ready to put it back on. That's as soon as I've straightened it out. I've already started, so from here to here, sort of planish straight, better. It's never going to be perfect. This is the real tough one because it's actually started folding back on itself. So be a real test. Going to introduce some heat to it, soften it up. See how we get on. I'm literally just beating it against the vise with a hammer. Wish me luck. I'll call that a success. Lots of beating, planishing, 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 planishing. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad at all. That's how that's had some primer over it, and I think he's planning on doing like a sort of Raptor chip, stone chip underneath here. That'll be fine. So I'm going to get a load of well-free primer inside there, inside here as well. Spray as much as I can in the chassis, and then get this welded back on. Cleco it in place first and get it welded in onto the other side, which thankfully isn't as bad. That was the worst one out of the two. Much better, much straighter. Just temporary fixings holding it in place. Let's dress that edge up a little bit. That's it, I can get it plug welded in now. Move on to the other side. Not too bad. A bit more cleaning up on it, a bit more grinding, and some primer over it. Much better. Now, onto this one. As you can see, I've already cut it, drill the spot welds out. I'll varnish the floor because it's dressed. It needs dressing down a bit. And then obviously beat this chassis leg straight. This one isn't as bad as the other one, but it does look like it's been jacked up on this side a lot more. It's yeah, it's all shapes. Anyway, I'm sure it'll straighten out, make it good. A lot straighter. A little bit more to grind on that one. A lot more to grind on that one because I've literally just welded it in. Just got to finish the holes where I've had the clecos and finish the joint up at the front, get it ground down, jump in the car, grind the plug welds down and throw some primer over it, and that is the chassis legs straightened out and reattached. Looking a hell of a lot better. Next, well, we'll deal with that tomorrow. I've had enough for today. That is it. I'm not coming back tonight. I'm having a night off. It's now early Saturday morning. I'm back to it. That's the other side of the chassis leg reinforcers, both plug welded in. This one's all cleaned up, so the passenger one's all cleaned up underneath. I just need to clean up the plug welds inside and throw some primer over it. Driver's one is welded in, but I've not done any cleaning up, grinding on it yet. But it is only 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'll try and keep the noise down for the neighbours. Next job, I'm going to try and tackle this. So basically, I'm guessing something bolts in here, some sort of plate or something. The steering shaft comes through, as you can see all the way around. Has this lip until it gets to the bottom, and then it's been completely destroyed. And the metalwork's also cracked down here. So I'm gonna have to dress this out, straighten it out, get this lip back as best as possible, and then weld this crack up. You can't actually see. The metal's actually overlapping, so not the biggest job in the world, just a little bit tricky trying to shape that, get it back together, get it looking something like. And then the last job on this car, chassis legs just need welding, grinding, that little area there, and then in the boot, we put this lip in across the back to mount a false flooring and a fuel cell. Now, yesterday the owner has been thinking, and he wants to add similar across the back here, like 2 inches across the back, so it's square with this panel, just to finish it off, because there's not much area there for the oh, it's banged me funny bone. Oh god. Oh, there's not much area there to bolt anything up to, so we're just going to extend that out so it's square all the way across to this. But that's that'll be the last job on this car, I think. Pretty sure that'll be everything then. It's not actually been too bad. Luckily dealing with very little rust. It's a good solid car. As you can see by the floors, how many 1980, I think this is an 83. How many 1983 cars do you see with floor pans like that? It's really good. So after trying to beat this lip, it's cracked here, it's cracked along here, it's really weak, and also you can see it's like it's had a crack there, and they did not beat it straight, just put a big blob of weld on it. It's overlapping up here, it's never going to be neat. So I think I'm going to well, I've already started, so what I'm going to do, I've cut this out, traced around the radius, I've cut a plate that's slightly bigger. I'm going to try and beat like a 5mm return into this side, and then hopefully cut this section out, if the camera's looking at it, cut this section out and replace it with some new metal. It's never going to look neat like this. It's going to be weak. There's another crack underneath there too. You know, you can see. So we got 1, 2. I think this one's cracked as well along here. yeah, make it look neat. I think the best thing to do is just replace it with some new metal. It'll probably be quicker as well. That should do it. Pretty straightforward. Just got me, as you've seen previously, I'd cut the radius into it. I then got my vernier and set it at 5mm and scribed the line, and then just put it in the vise and beat it until we've got a 5mm lip all the way around. Now I am going to, as you can see, it's a lot bigger than we need. We only need probably 20mm in the centre of it. I'm going to cut out the damaged area and then pop this behind it, scribe this, weld it in, Bob's your uncle. That's all the damaged piece cut out, as you can see. That's the front face. You can actually see the crack there, it's gone through. Top piece is just snapped off when I cut it. And the back side of it, as you can see, it's had some welding in the past. So that should make it nice. Hopefully, this should just pop behind there. Fit like a treat or not. Anyway, a little bit of trimming. Sat a bit high, obviously it's sat on these edges up here. It needs to be down on this edge here, so that will bring it down and cover that edge there on the bottom. So yeah, a little bit of trimming, and then there's got a slight radius to the bulkhead too, so I'll have to put a little radius in the bottom of it. But generally that should do the trick. That should do it. I'll just put some magnets on it and some paint over it, and that will, you'll never notice. If only. Yeah, just clean these edges up a bit, give it a quick wire wheel around here, get it back to bare metal, and glue it in place. So that looks a little bit better. Bit of primer, bit of seam sealer, job done. Onto the boot floor now. I think that's, in fact I'm going to jump underneath, do the grinding on the chassis legs, and then I can get them in primer, and then last job, boot floor. So as I said, the last piece on the car is put this strip across the back edge here to mimic this. Oh, some numbers. To mimic this, so it's parallel. It's got somewhere to fix a fuel tank. Now the issue is, on this back edge here, there's actually a step which was pressed into it, which gives it some strength. This panel, we can't put that step in because it's flat on the three edges. So what I've had to do is fold a 90 into it just to give it a bit of strength, otherwise it would have flexed around and wouldn't have been very nice. So that should add some strength to it. Hopefully it doesn't mess up Adam's plans. What he's not told me his full plan, he just told me he wanted a strip across the back here. So now that it's marked out 540 from here, both sides. So I'm going to clamp it in place, jump underneath, scribe around the chassis legs and boot floor on the underside of it, so I know where to cut it out, drop it in, weld it in. And that is this car finished. Well, oh no, actually, need to mask up and put a bit of a primer, just clean up inside the boot, put some primer in there, but that's it. Should be finished today, all being well, and ready for collection Monday. So slight change of plans. The boot panel is not being done now. That's because the boot floor's actually got a radius to it, so we said just leave it. So all I've got to do now, as you can see, I've masked it up, because I've got to throw some copper weld through primer on here where it's been welded. Same again inside, and just on these edges where I've ground it back to bare metal, and on the back here. And that's because the inside of the car, in the boot, the engine bay, is all getting painted, full underside painted. The exterior, he's leaving with the patina. So I've got to be careful, can't get any paint or anything on the outside. Every bit of work I've done, I've had to work around the paintwork without damaging it. So quick mask up, throw some primer over this, and we are done. That's it then. That's the all the welding, repairs, fab, whatever you want to call it, all done. masked up and painted the back panel. Give it all a bit of copper spray, so basically anywhere where it's copper, I've been working. All that's coated, all that's done. So we've got the chassis legs off, the gear sticks around, address the front of the tunnel there. Obviously the column, which I've just done. That nasty repair, which I wasn't happy with, and I don't want to show too much of it. Well, here you go. Yeah, needs some filler work. Obviously the turret repair. I think that is everything. That's the lot. So yeah, it's been something different. Thankfully not dealing with too much rust. Been a nice little welding job. Not often you come across these where you're fabricating and you're not dealing with rust, you're just dealing with damage. There's very little rust in this one, which is good. So that's it, I'm going to run this video off there. Corolla's all done, that'll be getting collected Monday, all being well. So thanks for watching, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good weekend.